Part 2. Azure Moon. Verdant Rain Moon. Our chosen paths. The Kingdom Army has captured Fort Merceus. Managing troops from the now stable Western Kingdom and former Alliance territory, the Kingdom Army returns to Garreg Mach to regroup and reorganize its forces. With sufficient might to challenge the Empire, the Kingdom Army finalizes their plans to march on Enbarr, the Imperial Capital.
Ah, there you are. His Highness was looking for you. He's gone ahead and started interrogating the prisoner, Viscount Kleiman's man. He said he'd like for you and I to be present as well. Will you come with me?
I cannot overlook your reckless remarks. Are you really so keen to lose your head?
I only did what I believed was right. I swear to the goddess that I'm not lying. Amidst the turmoil of the tragedy, Lady Patricia was supposed to be the only one who was unharmed. We had been given orders ahead of time to not approach her carriage.
Of course not. What would my stepmother have had to gain from such a...
Perhaps Lady Patricia would have done anything to return to the Empire, to her husband and daughter.
What exactly are you implying?
For the past few months, I've been spying on lords who defected to the Empire in order to investigate rumors about Lady Patricia. Cornelia's words were true. The two of them, I am afraid they conspired together after all.
Enough of this nonsense. You say she wished to return home? That isn't nearly enough reason to cause such a tragedy.
I do not intend to imply that the two of them were solely responsible for the whole affair. They were likely nobles who opposed the king, or potentially someone who wanted to throw the kingdom into chaos. The Empire and people like Solon and Kranya had their motives too.
So my stepmother joined with them to cause the tragedy. Is that what you believe?
Ultimately, this is just conjecture based on the evidence at hand. I have no idea what their true intentions were.
I see. We will hear what this man has to say. For now.
My lord had long felt that King Lambert's radical ways were dangerous. At the time, he was approached with an offer to take part in the incident at Dusker. My lord loves his homeland. To me, he embodied justice. We were only doing what we thought was right.
And so, in the name of justice, he caused massacre upon massacre out of love for his homeland. You murdered your own king, killed our soldiers, and involved innocent citizens. And yet you have the gall to speak of justice!
I am only standing before you now because I could no longer bear the weight of my sins. No, I accept your hatred and even the punishment of death, but I still believe it was a massacre in the name of justice.
Gilbert, lock this man in his cell.
Are you not going to kill him?
I will make that decision once I have had time to consider this man's definition of justice.
Yes, Your Highness.
No, I cannot say that I am. Tell me, Professor, how well do you remember your father, Gerald? I figured as much. Even the memory of those who pass away is taken from those they left behind, little by little, year by year. To be honest, I cannot really remember my stepmother's... that woman's smile, nor the sound of her voice. I always told myself that I would not allow my mind to forget, and yet, all I can recall with clarity is her gazing away, so forlorn. Did my stepmother wish to go home so badly that she would kill Father and me? Kill her false family? Home, to her own blood. Her true family. suppose it doesn't make any difference now. I am asking you questions you could not possibly know the answer to. I am finished with thoughts like that. I am finally able to go on living without clinging to hate. If I truly treasure those who have died, then I must earnestly atone for my sins. Father, Glenn, all of the soldiers who have fallen, the people of Duscur who still suffer persecution. The only atonement I can offer them now is to take responsibility for this broken kingdom that has been entrusted to me. That is why I feel that I must meet with Edelgard and try to talk to her. Do you think it is a fool's errand? Honestly, I think so too. But I must swallow my feelings and grudges, our whole history really, and ask her about this future that she sees. What she aims for once her domination is complete. What kind of justice she clings to as she fights. And why she felt it necessary to start this war. I believe that asking her these things is the true responsibility I have been tasked with as king. We will march our troops to the Imperial Capital. But before any battle begins, we will set up camp nearby and send a messenger. I will tell her that I need to speak with her in a safe place, without any weapons or troops. As to whether or not she will agree to my request, well, that rests solely on Edelgard. I would like to believe that as well. You know, Professor, when we fought in Ferdiad, Cornelia mocked me and called me pitiful. But even if it is true that my stepmother never loved me, I am not to be pitied. After all, I have allies and dear friends who care for me. And now, I also have you by my side.
I'm thinking 10 years ago, Dagda and Brigid attacked the Empire from the west. Their final target was the capital. But they were countered at a port town long before they reached their destination. We spent a lot of time going back and forth, but at least we made it this far.
It's very likely that Lady Rhea is confined in the Imperial Palace. If so, then our strategy will be to gain control of the streets and then assault the castle. A street battle followed by a castle invasion. It's just one battle after another. It'll be tough, but we have to win. For Lady Rhea.
Professor? This may seem a bit sudden, but I want to thank you, Professor. That is, for letting me live my life the way I want. I've noticed you've been giving me fewer of those soul-revealing gazes lately. I appreciate you making an effort to not trouble yourself over who I spend my time with. Well, of course. Did you think I wouldn't notice? It's kind of sweet in its own way. Professor, may I tell you a story about when I was younger? I was an orphan, living in the back alleys of Enbarr, until one day I was overheard singing. That was when my new life began. I was suddenly a songstress in the Middle Frank Opera Company. Performers, nobility. I met so many people. But none of them ever really knew me. I was just some young, pretty girl who could sing. A spectacle to be admired. Even though everyone praised my looks and my voice, and they showered me with gifts, I knew one day I'd be old. My looks would fade, my voice would change. I wouldn't sound the same. And I started to wonder, when I did get old, what would I have left? I'd be old, alone, and back on the streets of the capital, right where I'd started. That's sweet of you, even if you are just flirting. I never had much to begin with in life, and I worry that one day I'll be that way again. That's why I keep searching for someone who will love me. Someone unaware of the songstress, who can love a girl that used to be scared and alone on the streets of the capital. I wonder if such a strange person can even exist.
Right.
Professor. Returning to the monastery brings back so many memories from 5 years ago. Hard to believe we only spent a year together here. So much happened that it felt a lot longer than that. But it was all so exciting and so much fun. Honestly, I think those memories are what's kept me fighting this long. What was that year like for you, Professor? I don't think I could ask for a better answer. Let's all do our best to survive this, so we can come back here when it's all over. I know that's what I'll be doing.
Professor! My mother might be in the city. I don't have many good memories of her, if I'm being honest, but she's dearer to me than my father. If you happen to see her, please make sure she's not caught up in all the fighting. She's only a civil servant, so hopefully she takes a cue from her burning and stays inside.
Professor, I keep thinking the war is near its end, then it isn't. When can we finally put this dreadful war behind us? I suppose you're right. But we should still try our best to make the world a place where children can grow up happy and safe.
Let me see.
I wonder what the Emperor looks like. I bet she's really scary. Oh, you don't think so? I've never seen her, so I was just guessing. She tried to destroy the kingdom and the Alliance, and order the capture of the Archbishop, right? I don't know. Someone who could do such terrible things just has to be really scary looking.
We're heading up to Embarr next. I hope I make it back safe so I can tell my little sis about it.
I hear they got a neat opera house there, where Manuela used to perform. What was it called again?
Haha, that's the one. My little sis always goes on about how much she'd like to see him perform. I know we can't see a show, but do you think we could at least see the building?
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. Momentum's really picking up for this final battle, huh? Even I'm starting to feel tense. Me! Enbarr's history goes back 1,400 years. That even predates the founding of the Empire. It's one of the sacred sites of the Seros faith, so it's a pretty big deal. But hey, no need to worry about the monastery while you're fighting the final battle. I've got it covered. I'll defend it to my last.
While on some business, I went to see how the Kingdom Capital is getting on. There are still some things to work out before it can be restored. But generally, things seem to have calmed down. It's on its way to resuming its old energy. I think this will end up being a better kingdom than before. I really believe that.
Seems like the war is gonna end soon. Once the dust settles, it'll be back to rolling in fat stacks of gold for me.
It's such a relief that we've made it this far without having to fight my father. You bet I'm scared. The Imperial Army hasn't lost a single battle with my father on the field. But still, I wonder what'll happen to him if we win.
He intends to speak to the Emperor? She's his stepsister, I know, but this seems risky. No, I'm not. I'm sure he's thought it through. If the two can settle this diplomatically, that would be the best way out of this mess. No more bloodshed. Let's just hope he doesn't become so overwhelmed with emotion that he's unable to strike her down, should the need arise.
Professor. Even this town, which was a ruin, has begun to recover its energy. However, acquiring supplies is still difficult. The people living here are struggling too. This conflict must be brought to an end soon. I agree. We must seize victory with our own hands. Still, I wonder what path my life should follow once we achieve our goals. That has been my intent. But surely my daughter Annette must have her own path to follow. Perhaps she would be happier if our paths diverged. Of course, if she desires it, I will gladly return. But if she does not, I wonder if I should ask my wife to join me here, to live out our days together at the monastery. That would not be so bad a choice either. Perhaps it is the fault of last night's drink that I am indulging in such dreams of the future today. Yes, I've learned there is strength in focusing clearly on tomorrow and allowing yesterday to be done.
Hey! It's the old fishing guy! Hi there!
A short time ago, I instructed these children in the art of fishing.
Thanks to you, we caught a really, really big fish in the river nearby.
Is that right? Be sure you share it with your families now.
We will!
I did say something about that once, didn't I? I even told you to forget you ever saw me smile. But now, I would not ask that of you. Your words from when last we spoke have stayed with me. They bring to mind the king I first served. He told me not to dwell upon the dead. The dead are dead, and those who live are not bound by them. I intend to live my own life from now on. You have a fine smile as well. One that I could never have imagined when we first met. No matter how our titles or positions change, I hope you will always remain yourself, Professor.
Hi.
Professor?
I've been thinking about how we've got our own ideas about justice. And so does the Empire. And what's coming? It's not just a battle between us and them. It's our ideals that are fighting. Whoever wins will say they were right and the other side was wrong. And I get it, that's how it goes. But nobody's willing to talk or compromise. So we'll fight to the death to prove the other guy's wrong. It won't be an easy battle, but let's make sure we come back alive. Right, Professor?
It's like this. I used to work for Cornelia in Ferdiad. I only followed her because I didn't want to die. But afterwards, I felt so ashamed I wanted to die anyway. I still can't figure out why I did it. Anyway, I'm glad you did what you did. From now on, I'm going to devote myself to the kingdom and fight for what I believe in.
Professor! Once you set out on your next mission, you won't be able to have a proper meal for a while, right? You should eat up while you can. Build up your physical strength to prepare for the mission.
I see.
I hope this is the final battle. Don't you, Professor? When the war is over, everyone will be busy with their own lives. But let's all meet up again someday. Right here at Garreg Mach. You, His Highness, my father, our monastery friends, the knights, everyone. It was just a silly whim I had, but I really love it. Ooh, and I'll bake a bunch of desserts for it. Reunion sweets. All we have to do now is win. Let's get to it, Professor.
We'll be heading for the capital soon. So much rests on this moment. Will the war really be over if we take the capital? Yay! I'm sure it won't end right away, but that's still great news. I truly believe that a peaceful future is waiting at the end of all of this.
Wanting so desperately to speak with Edelgard, just as we're about to fight. Could it be that the prince is having doubts about killing her? I suppose they're the only ones who fully understand the extent of their relationship. He's certainly changed from the vengeful person he once was. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm actually relieved. A king who's responsible for Fodlan's future can't exact personal vendettas and have a cold heart.
I've got a bit of Dusker blood in me. Vargas is our ancestral enemy. But if that man is going to be the king, I don't see any harm in lending him my blade. I believe that we can forge a proud new kingdom. As you can tell, I'm expecting great things. I won't forgive you if you lose.
Attacking the capital means crossing swords with the Emperor herself. I hope you won't be caught unprepared. I've heard that she'll stop at nothing in the pursuit of victory. Be careful of that Hubert, too, the minister of the Imperial household. They say he's a cunning strategist.
We're about to put the finishing touches on this war. I wonder how Fodlan will look without the backdrop of death and destruction. I can't wait to see it. On the other hand, I'm terrified of what the future might hold. Who knows if I'll survive the assault on the capital?
Did you know, a magnificent canal flows through downtown Enbarr? It's said to have been constructed under the guidance of Saint Seros before the Empire was even formed. Ever since, that canal has been a major lifeline for the capital's development. And now this is how the Empire repays it. Truly, no good deed goes unpunished.
Professor, at last, the end is nigh. I love the Empire. Part of me wants it to survive, but I know that is not reasonable. The Empire's time has come. The kingdom is battle-scarred, the alliance is in tatters. People must be terrified. The world is crumbling around them. What we need now is a mighty leader who can rebuild Fodlan and rule it as a single nation. Nonetheless, it saddens me that we will not have an Adrestian emperor.
At last, we've come to the final confrontation. Ruin to the Empire. Glory to Vargas. Of course, to be perfectly honest, I would have much preferred to march against the Empire at the head of the Alliance. But I suppose I have Claude to thank for denying me that satisfaction, don't I?
Here we are, facing the final battle with the Empire. It's been a long, difficult struggle. We have to get Lady Rhea back. And we have to crush the Empire in the name of Captain Geralt. He's watching over us now, protecting us. I know he is.
Rhea will be somewhere in the city. I wonder if she can sense us coming. The battle will soon be upon us. Let us both be at our best for what is to come.
Dear Goddess. For your safety, I'll do all I can to survive. But please, please don't die out there, Professor.
At last, it's time to face the Flame Emperor, Edelgard. I know that the future of all Fodlan rests on this battle. Nothing else is more important. But for me, this is personal. For Captain Gerald's sake, I'm going to give it all I've got and more.
Enbar's streets are paved with unhappy memories, Professor. I've avoided the damned place ever since I abandoned my nobility, swore never to return. Now here we are. To return in this manner Well, I can't say it is something I ever imagined. Especially as I'm returning to end the Empire. What a strange feeling, breaking one's history.
When you think of it, as one approaches the end of a war, the sacrifices only grow larger, don't they? The winning side musters their forces and attempts to strike a decisive blow, while those of the losing side make desperate attempts to turn the war in their favor. Neither side will give. I only wish we'd consider those who lose their lives in that struggle. Yes, exactly my point. Let's be careful to ensure we don't lose our own lives, Professor.
I was born in Enbarr. My mother and father met in a church there. Not too long after, I was brought into the world. I do not understand how war can happen in such a precious place. It is most regrettable.
Life can be tough, you know. But if you've got your friends to help you through, it can be a lot easier. Maybe you butt heads sometimes, but that's okay. That's how you build bonds, right? And I've got friends, Professor, plenty of those. It's true love that seems to have passed me by. But where is my true love to be found? Where is my ray of hope? At this point, I'm just hoping you stay single too. Then at least we can share each other's misery.
Whenever I think about how we'll be seeing Lady Rhea real soon, I get happy and really get cleaning. We'll get there for sure, right? We'll see her again? I just gotta believe Lady Rhea is waiting for us in the capital. We just have to find her.
I need to be speaking. 5 years ago, Edelgard said a thing to me. Bridget is a vassal of the Empire. But she also said I always have the freedom to be choosing whether I am with or not with her. I will become the ruler of Bridget. So she said I must make my own path. So now, my path and her path will be colliding.
I'm so glad you were assigned to the Blue Lion House, Professor. We made it this far, thanks to your guidance and leadership. There's a bitter fight ahead, that much is certain. You have my lance. Yes, let's do this together.
Fighting in the capital? Ugh. And we're fighting against Edelgard. Double ugh. But with you leading us, Professor, I know we'll win. Yeah! Woohoo! Fighting! I'm a little scared, to be honest. I'm just shouting to relieve the tension, but I'll be fine.
Looks like we're nearing the end of this struggle. I'm sure Lady Rhea is on tenterhooks waiting for me to swoop in and rescue her. I was just kidding. Pay me no mind. Lady Rhea's not waiting for me, I know, no matter how much I might wish she were. She's waiting for you.
Sorry, but I'm not the fighting type. All I can do is lend you the stuff you need. And, you know, pray to the goddess for your safety. Win, live, and return, okay? Mostly so you can pay me back for the stuff you borrowed.
Maybe.
Please, let me consider. It matters not how just our cause may be. In the end, war is nothing more than organized murder. I understand the desire to reach a conclusion, but we mustn't overlook the sins inherent in our deeds. Sorry. I have a tendency to preach. We have lost so much. And in return, we have taken much from our enemies. I pray we can put an end to this cycle of violence.
I believe in you, but please ensure that His Highness survives as well. Fodlan's future would be in peril if we lost him. I would not be able to go on. Thank you.
Professor. Our next battlefield will be the Imperial Capital. There will be no turning back. If you have any unfinished business here, you had best settle it before we depart. I knew I could count on you. Good luck. Please, allow me to take you up on your kind offer for company. This smells good. I wonder how it tastes. Thank you. How warm and comforting. Ah. Indeed. So it is. These last 5 years, I have been many places, and I have seen many things. Ah. I see. How warm and comforting. Ah, so it is. So it is. Indeed. Ah. How about this? How about this? That's... Is that right? Ah. My right eye? The scar is healed now. It narrows my sight a little, but it does not interfere with fighting. I see. Professor! It smells delightful. Is that right? I appreciate it. Thank you for the treat. I had a wonderful time. I would love to do this again, if that is acceptable to you. You used to whine unless you could do everything with me.
Time for you to shut up and eat now. Got it? Enjoy the meal.
All due to your coaching. Thanks. I'm a bit embarrassed. All due to your coaching. All the more reason to train diligently. That was helpful coaching.
Well, well, inviting me to your room. That's intriguing, Professor. Very intriguing. What a lovely smell. I like this tea very much. Thank you. Smells lovely. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Am I that terrible of a woman? So I'm a little unkempt. What of it? Yeah. That's right. No way, Professor. What do you think? Come on. Nah. Yeah. Come on. Huh? Oh, that sensual gaze of yours. Keep it up. Professor? I see you're taken in by my beautiful skin. If you keep staring like that, I might get the wrong idea. Thanks for the treat. Come by the infirmary anytime you need anything. I'll be waiting, Professor.
I will not yield! Yeah! It's been a while since I had such a close call. If not for you, Professor, I wouldn't have made it. I didn't expect to be ambushed on a simple scouting mission. You should be asking about the mission, not about me. I have to ask, Professor, what brought you here? So you came to protect me. I'm beginning to understand why your allies love you. These are selfish times. One doesn't expect to encounter selflessness. You're kind. In that respect, I'd say you're much like Lady Rhea. Of course. It's thanks to her kindness that I'm here today. I was an outlaw in Fargus. She took me in and let me live here. Didn't I tell you? I was born into House Karen in Fargus. They used to call me Thunderstrike Cassandra. I was implicated in a plot to kill the king. It was a totally false accusation, of course. I had to flee the kingdom, and the Archbishop took me in. I used to be a student at the academy, so I knew I'd be safe here. Lady Rhea saved me once when I was a student, you know. We were tasked with battling monsters, but we were ambushed. I almost died. Lady Rhea took care of me. She didn't mind getting dirty. She took my muddied, bloodied body into her arms. Since then, Lady Rhea has been my inspiration. I will always serve her, protect her, love her. For some reason, when I think about Lady Rhea, your face comes to mind. You've become an important presence in my life. I wasn't expecting you to have a positive response. I'm not thrilled about it personally. I am still going to keep my eye on you. Not so I can report to Lady Rhea, though. Just because I want to.
Thank you for helping me with my training again today, Professor. I'm gonna keep at it for a while longer, so you go on ahead. I can't. Not when I'm right on the cusp of using my power to greater potential. Surely you yourself are tired. Just don't worry about me, okay? I'm sorry, Professor. It was careless of me to continue, despite how fatigued I clearly was. I probably should have listened to you. Now I've made a mess of things. I can't help but feel the need to rush in all things constantly. You get that way when you realize you haven't got much time. 18 years ago, House Ordelia was involved in a civil conflict within the Empire. All we did was respond to a call for aid. We weren't involved politically. But once the rebellion was crushed, my family was held responsible for the aid we gave, and the Empire gained some sway over us as a result. At the time, the noble houses of the Alliance took a passive stance. No one lent aid to my family. As a result, some key officials within the family were killed, and people from the Empire were sent to replace them. Among those people were some mysterious mages. They were unsettling, in a word. Skin pale as death. One after another, they captured and imprisoned the children of our household. They began performing terrible rituals on the children, though it's probably more accurate to call them experiments. With the Empire monitoring our every move, my parents could do nothing but watch in horror as all of this unfolded. One after another, the children died, until the only one left was me. You know, my hair wasn't always this color. During their experiments, they'd been doing things with my blood. One morning, I awoke like this. A shock of white hair, all trace of pigment gone. Upon seeing me, the mages were delighted. They realized that their experiments had finally succeeded. Sure enough, they ran a test and saw that two crests coexisted within me. Losing pigment from my hair wasn't the only loss. The mages informed me that my lifespan was now greatly shortened. 5 more years at most, perhaps less. Shortly thereafter, the mages lost interest in me, and we never saw them in the Ordelia household again. Since all that, our family has been in decline. It's challenging now even to govern our territory. After all my mother and father have suffered, I at least want them to have peace as they grow older. That is all I wish for, but I haven't much time to ensure it comes to pass. It's not like what's been done to me can be undone. Professor, the only way I can conceive of would be to remove my crest somehow. But I don't know if that's even remotely possible. Even if it were, I wouldn't be of much use to you and the others without my crests. You sound resolved. I'll allow your resolve to bolster my own. Thank you, Professor.
I never thought I would be able to enjoy a meal with my friends again.
No one is to blame. But yes, we should eat together more often.
After the fighting's done, we should all go on a gourmet's journey around the world. What say you?
That sounds like fun. What do you think, Professor? Up for a culinary adventure?
Sitting around a nice meal and eating with friends is the best.
I know you're excited, but you'll choke on your food if you don't take time to chew.
Having a meal together like this makes me feel like you are part of our family, Professor.
You truly are as good as kin. Let us enjoy this brief respite together.
Professor, I asked to be on the sidelines. Why did you put me on the battlefield? You did protect me, so I guess I can't complain. Wait a second, you're hurt. Did that happen when you were defending me? You're lying. How could you be so reckless? Perhaps you'll say that that's what friends do. They look out for each other and save each other. But if I saw you getting attacked, I wouldn't risk my neck to save you. No, don't overestimate me. I don't know if I've told you this, Professor. I have a very impressive big brother. I'm not just saying that. He's strong, smart, nice. He's basically perfect. Before Claude turned up, people talked about him becoming the next leader of the Alliance. Don't mention that to Lawrence, by the way. He never shuts up about that kind of thing. Anyway, my parents have high expectations for my brother, and he almost always meets them. No one expects anything of me. If something's even a little bit difficult, I find someone else to do it for me. That's what I've done my whole life. Of course! I can't stand the idea of not meeting someone's expectations. I know how people react when that happens. From watching my brother, I mean. People force their expectations on you, and then if you fail, they look so disappointed. Whenever that happens to my poor brother, he looks just devastated. So don't expect anything of me, please. That way, I can't disappoint you. You're stubborn. Okay, fine. Keep believing in me. I do want to support you and support my friends. I just don't want to let you down.
It's nice to be invited over. That looks delicious. I think this might be my favorite tea. Thanks. This is great. Yeah. 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 Wow. People always seem to be talking about romance, but honestly, I'm just not interested in that stuff. Wow. Ha! This is really nice. Professor! Hot, hot, hot! Wow. Professor! Wow. Wow. What are you staring at me for? I've been doing all my training. Professor! Captain Gerald made this necklace for me a long time ago. It's a reminder of where I came from. Wow. This is really nice. Thanks for the tea. Invite me by again sometime.
You know, stepping in to prevent extortion, that was quite brave of you.
What? Oh, you're talking about that time in town. I wouldn't say I did anything brave, really. I just asked what was going on.
No need to be humble. Helping the weak is precisely what a virtuous noble does.
I don't think what I did is quite the same thing.
What do you mean by that?
The point I was trying to make is that some things in this world can't be bought or sold with money. I think I let myself get a little too worked up, though. It's just, when I saw it happening, it reminded me of my own past.
Your past? You were originally a daughter of House Bartels, a minor noble family, I heard. You abandoned your title, and now you live as a commoner. Is there more to the story? Pray tell.
Life was becoming difficult for us, so my mother and I fled from House Bartels. We found refuge in a small church in Fargus and lived there for a few years. A man appeared one day and said that he wanted to adopt me. It was obvious that he only cared about my bloodline and crest. The priest refused to let me go, but the man used his money to overwhelm the church. In the end, I had no choice but to leave with him. That soldier we saw? I guess he just reminded me of my adoptive father.
The man who exploited you so that he could join the nobility. Yes, I understand. But I must confess, that part of the story confuses me. There is nothing to gain from having a noble title. What's so funny?
I never thought I'd hear you question the value of nobility, Ferdinand.
Oh, well, that is not quite what I meant. Using someone else to obtain high status, with no effort and no accomplishment? Certainly you can obtain a title like that, but it hardly makes you a noble.
I completely agree.
By the same token, although you are legally a commoner, in your heart, you are a proud and virtuous noble. That is what I think, at any rate. Caspar, I have been waiting.
Ferdinand, waiting for what?
I am going to give you a lesson on the righteous path of the noble.
Righteous path? What? You have a problem with my path now? You think you're more righteous than me?
That remains to be seen. I heard you stopped a robbery in town the other day. Some despicable thief who was robbing an elderly shopkeeper. Rumor has it you didn't wreak as much havoc as usual.
Hey now, I think you're underestimating me here. When the thief showed up, the old shopkeeper was so scared that he could barely stand. I didn't want the guy to pass out, so I had to stay calm while handling the situation. Rather than fighting, I gave my own money to the thief and told him to get out of there. Or else.
How, magnanimous of you.
The thief fell for it and left the shop. That's when I chased him down. I got my money back and gave that thief a good beating. He won't be back here anytime soon.
Ah, so you walloped the scoundrel. That does sound like you. I am finding this story more plausible. Nevertheless, I think...
Hold on. Now it's your turn. I heard a very interesting story about you recently.
My turn, eh? Let's hear this story then.
The way I heard it, you punched a foreign soldier right in the middle of town.
Stop. I know what you are getting at. But you have the wrong idea.
Let's hear your version then.
I had been browsing for weapons at a rundown stall. Suddenly, a man seized the stall's owner and started dragging him away. Someone with a less generous spirit might say the peddler had it coming. His wares were quite inferior after all. But without a moment's hesitation, I leapt to his aid and soundly defeated the goon.
Well done. Sounds exciting.
It was nothing, really. Anyway, the old shopkeeper let me in on the details. He said that he was a novice trader,
tricked by a noble into selling low-quality goods. That ruse was about to come to light, so the noble had sent a mercenary to keep the shopkeeper silent.
So that's what really happened. I just heard you snapped and attacked some noble servant. I figured it was worth asking about.
Well, I won't deny it. I forgot my rank for a moment and let my instincts take over.
Is there something wrong with that? It sounds a little like something I would do.
And your, gentle approach to handling that robbery. That sounds like something I might do. You were not overcome by your impulses. You kept a cool head. For the most part.
I think we're starting to rub off on each other. Always looking for a way to defend justice and to lift each other up.
Partners in justice, eh? Well now, that I can agree to.
How did you know Dorothea was an orphan?
I hear she buttered up some noble and he enrolled her in the academy.
She's higher ranking than us lot. How disappointing.
I suggest ignoring them.
Lynn, don't scare me like that.
You seem less scared than surprised, but that's quibbling, I suppose. As for those two gossips, unimportant. I suggest forgetting all about them and their petty words. Join me for a meal. I've been the target of a lot of gossip, and eating generally makes me feel better.
Don't pretend we're the same. If I could brush it off so easily, I would.
It doesn't seem particularly difficult. Where's the problem? Is this about your pride?
No, not even a little bit.
What then?
Lynn, please just go away. I want to be alone right now.
That's fine. But your life is your own business. It's not something that can be affected by the petty words of a stranger. Sorry. I kept talking, didn't I? I'll stop now.
Please do.
Please, allow me to take you up on your kind offer for company. This smells good. I wonder how it tastes. Thank you. So it is. So it is. I would invite you to my quarters next, but I fear my space is so bare it is almost laughable. So it is. How about this? So it is. So it is. My right eye? The scar is healed now. It narrows my sight a little, but it does not interfere with fighting. It smells delightful. Is something the matter? What was that? How about this? Indeed. I am not good with facial expressions. Is my smile passable at present? Your room is quite comfortable. I feel I could relax here for a good while. I am not good with facial expressions. Is my smile passable at present? I appreciate it. Thank you for the treat. I had a wonderful time. I would love to do this again, if that is acceptable to you. Professor, do you think Edelgard will show up?
Well, well. It's been a long time, Professor. And hello to you too, Dimitri.
Edelgard, I did not think you would actually accept my request.
Call it a win. Well then, what did you want to talk about?
I will get straight to the point. Why did you start this war? There had to be a way to change things in your territory without the need for so many senseless casualties.
It may be hard to believe, but this is the way that leads to the fewest casualties in the end. Don't you see?
How could I? Countless people have already lost their lives in this conflict.
The longer we took to revolt, the more victims this crooked world would have claimed. I weighed the victims of war against the victims of the world as it is now, and I chose the former. I believe that I have chosen the best path, the only path.
Even after seeing the faces of those who have suffered the ravages of war, you would still force them to throw their lives away for the future? You are obsessively devoted to this war, and deaf to the screams of its victims. You cannot change the cycle of the strong dominating the weak with a method like that.
You're wrong. That very cycle is exactly what I have devoted my life and my power to destroying. If after all of this, you believe the weak will still be weak, that is only because they are too used to relying on others instead of on themselves.
Yes, perhaps someone as strong as you are can claim something like that. But you cannot force that belief onto others. People aren't as strong as you think they are. There are those who cannot live without their faith, and those who cannot go on once they have lost their reason for living. Your path will not be able to save them. It is the path of the strong, and so it could only benefit the strong.
So you consider me strong, do you? Even if one clings to their faith, the goddess will never answer them. Countless souls will be lost that way, living without purpose. And I can be counted among those who have died that way as well. But that's why I must change this world, on behalf of the silent and weak.
And do you intend to become a goddess yourself? Will you steal the power to take action from the broken-hearted masses you claim to defend? The ones who can truly change the way of the world are not the rulers, but the people. Pushing your own sense of justice and your own ideals onto even one other person is nothing more than self-righteousness.
Maybe it is self-righteousness, but it doesn't matter. Someone has to take action and put a stop to this world's endless, blood-stained history.
Do you not believe in the power of the people to join together and rise up? Humans are weak creatures, but they are also creatures who help each other, support each other, and together find the right path. I have learned that humans are capable of all that from the Professor, and from everyone in my life.
I doubt a highborn person like yourself could know how the poor feel or what motivates them. This is nonsense, though I'm finally starting to understand how you feel. But that makes it even clearer to me that we can never fully understand each other.
I feel the same. I finally understand. What you believe is right.
Goodbye, Dimitri.
Wait, Edelgard. There is something I must give you. This is for you. Use it to cut a path to the future you wish for. And I will rise up to meet you there. Elle.
Elle! So it's true. You're really going away? Going back home?
There's nothing I can do about it. It's all happening so fast. I'm as surprised as you are.
Elle. Here. I want you to have this. Elle, listen to me. No matter how hard things get, you can't give in, okay? You've got to cut a path to the future you wish for, no matter what.
It's a dagger? Why would you give me something like this?
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't think of anything better to give you.
Edelgard, what are you doing? It's time to go. Hurry and get in the carriage.
Oh, I'm sorry, Uncle. I have to go now.
I remember now. You gave me a dagger all those years ago.
I'm still sorry about that. I should have given you something that would have made you happier.
Perhaps. At the time, I was quite flustered by such a dangerous gift. I left without giving you a proper response, and that was the last time we saw each other.
True. It is a sweet memory, with a bitter ending.
I'm afraid it will do no good to reminisce, Dimitri. That girl you knew back then is gone, as good as dead. But I'll tell you now what I wasn't able to tell you back then. Thank you, my dear forgotten friend. Because of you, I never lost my heart. As for the future, that will be decided in battle. King of Fargus, as the Emperor, I shall await your arrival in Enbarr.
Sorry. It looks like I'm going to have to leave you now. One day, I hope you'll give this ring to someone you love as well as I love her. The Kingdom Army, having gathered new troops and significant strength, commences its march towards the Imperial Capital of Enbarr. In response to their movements, Emperor Edelgard orders her trusted retainer, Hubert, to the front lines to meet the Kingdom Army head-on. The two forces clash in the city's streets.
Gates to the Imperial Capital have been broken. All troops, storm in! The Emperor is within reach!
Imperial troops are dug in across the city. Let's cut through them and carve a route to the palace.
The Savior King arrives, hands red with blood. Let's give him a royal welcome. Artillery! Once the enemy is in range, fire at will. Reinforcements will fly in shortly. Keep your focus and hold steady until they arrive. Draw them toward the Opera House. Reinforcements will be here any moment. It's over!
Another victory.
So they've stopped our reinforcements. We will need to thin their numbers as well, or else. If House Varley's troops arrive in time, we may be able to flank the Kingdom's army.
War is for the wealthy. We don't even have enough to eat. I'm sure the goddess won't punish us for a little bit of thievery here and there.
The battle is nearing the Opera House. I hope everyone in the company is safe.
More reinforcements, eh? And this time it looks like a fair number.
I should have disposed of you a long time ago. I will rectify that failure here.
Allow me to demonstrate.
Hubert, I would tell you to get out of my way, but I highly doubt you would abide.
Your silver tongue will do you no good here. This is not your path to tread.
That is not your decision to make, nor is it mine. All I can do is blaze ahead.
We'll cover you.
We must destroy you now.
Ready for anything.
Running into you in the capital like this, I have to say it's almost sentimental.
Hubert, she must leave.
You really think you can make her?
It does not matter what I think. Those are my orders.
We must place our faith in Her Majesty. Her victory is everything.
It's over. The way to the palace is clear. Let's move! Send your platoons to capture Enbarr. There is to be no needless killing or pillaging. Understand?
Yes, Your Highness.
Edelgard awaits us. We will advance our main forces straight to the palace. Yes, it has truly been a long war. And we have only made it this far because of you. Actually, no. I will save that sentiment for after we win this battle. We will advance our troops and confront her. We must strike down the Emperor and end this war.
My life is yours, Your Highness.
Let's win this and go back home in victory. I'll do the very best I can.
On my honor as a knight, I will not lose.
I know the goddess is watching over us. Let's be sure to return home safely. All of us.
As a citizen of Fargus, I will fight with everything I have.
Is this what a do-or-die situation looks like? You would best give it your all too, General.
Go and win. Be the boar that you are. And don't you dare look back.
Yes, I will... No. We will win this. Together. Everyone, move out!
The time has nearly come.
Yes, the anomaly should present itself shortly. However...
There's no reason to fret. Besides, it's far too late to second guess. Now, assume your position. I can't promise your safety if you remain here.
Very well.
This pain is nothing compared to what I have already suffered.